But it was a barrier. When we were first listening to that book, it was like, it wasn't like, it's not like listening to like Harry Potter audiobook, you know?
Is it because Harry Potter is spoken in a British accent?
No, because, well, actually, yes, because I'm more used to a British accent. I'm not used to a Nigerian accent. So I had to learn that accent. And I remember that when we were in the car, like just listening to it and picking up most of it, but not all of it.
And do you think it was like the accent primarily, the way they pronounce the words, or do you think it was also other components of
Other components, like part of it was the accent, but I think it was actually mostly, what's the word, like
grammar?
you're doing it right now. Like it's like the way that, like grammar, the way they structure the sentences and stuff. I think it was like the grammar and things like that, which was, I had to learn that. Like I've heard it in short bursts, like you watch like, I don't know, a movie and there's like a Nigerian person in there, so I have like limited exposure to it. And so this was like the first time it was like the whole book is in Nigerian, like in Nigerian English, which is different than my standard English or English as I've heard before. So it took a while, but then once I learned about what they were like, what she was meaning, and like the context, like all the situations, like I think that was a big thing. I needed, like when she said like, oh, I think he's going to flog me, like does that mean she's going to get beat up? Like what does that mean? Ultimately, it's all just different things. It could be multiple meanings. So, but yeah, there was like a learning curve, for sure. And that was my perspective on hearing it. I had to like learn it and see all the different, like, because it's just different. It's different than the English that I speak.
And sorry if this is distracting me.
No, you're good.
You said that there were some times where you didn't really know what she was saying.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I just didn't really understand the word choice or the context. So.
Do you think that, I know that this might be a hard question to answer because you know what I've been learning in school and you know what other people think, but do you think that she speaks broken English? Do you think that her English is incorrect? I know that's a hard question to answer, so I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Do I think that she speaks broken English?
Yeah, like, do you think her English is incorrect?
No. I think her English is fine it's fine, just the way it is. It's her version of English. You know, so she could easily look at our language, or I could look at any other English and say, oh, that's not correct because it's not my way, you know, and they can do the same for me. So I don't think that, I think that that's just her version of English for her part of the world. And for whatever reason, things came together and that's the way that she speaks, and those are the things that, like, the way she speaks is the way she speaks. I don't think that it needs to be corrected, you know. And it was interesting in the book, because in the book she wants to speak like better English, you know, so she could get the scholarship and she could do all of those things. And it's like she's fluent in English, but she wasn't fluent in the English that would get her a scholarship. And so there was nothing wrong with how she spoke. However, there was like a standard that she had to meet. And so that's why she was talking to Tia and getting training and everything so she could meet that standard. But I don't think that standard is the end all be all. I don't think that that's correct. That's just the standard for that institution.
Yeah, other thoughts?
I mean, it was just interesting. You know, I don't know Yoruba, but I'm sure that, like all things like that, language had an influence on her English. So I don't know what that was, but like, it's just interesting, like hearing like the word flogging, you know, and thinking about the context, like where did that come from? Oh, I think he's gonna flog me. Because at one time, people were flogged.
Yeah.
So maybe that has like a historical connection. So I just think about that, you know, when I was listening to her, I was thinking about, okay, where is this coming from? Because it's so different, but it's like she's lived like a totally different life than I have in Nigeria. So it made me think about that, about like what the like connections were, especially for just for like I keep bringing up flogging because that's just so. Like, the only time I hear flogging is when they talk about people beating up Jesus.
And
And
I guess I'm curious how you think about this, like when you first listen to it, because maybe when you first listened to it, or I first listened to it, we didn't know about Yoruba. We didn't really know about Nigerian English. All we knew is that Ajami speaks a certain way, or a different way. So, I guess with that in mind, was there any other? I know you told me like sometimes it was confusing, or at first it was just different, and it was like not only the accent but the sentence structure and things. Was there any other like initial thoughts you had without the retrospection?
I judged it. I felt inconvenienced because it wasn't my standard English. I judged it as, why is this Nigerian lady reading this book to me? How long is this audiobook? That's the unfiltered. That was my initial thought, you know? Like, I'm embarrassed about that because I know better. But that was my initial thought because I was initially resistant to listening and taking that in.
Thank you. That's really good. That's good stuff. Anything else you want to share before I convey your identity to the internet?
Before we move on to all things considered at 1, whatever time it is. No, I think that's it. Thank you for asking that question. It helped clear the elephant out of my room.
Do you think the story would be different if it was told, or how would the story be different if it was told in the perspective of like a standard British or American English variety?
Can you ask that again?
If the story was written in standard British like variety or a standard American English variety versus maybe a Nigerian English variety, how would that change the book? In your opinion?
It would be an American story. It wouldn't be a Nigerian story anymore. That's how I see it. If it was Jamie Foxx reading it, I would just think it's some girl and, you know, some girl somewhere in America. So if it was in those varieties, I wouldn't really be able to distinguish it. Or if it was the same, well,
like, yeah, what if it was the same
words,
narrator?
the same narrator,
but there wasn't like the missing prepositions, and there wasn't like the word eyes balls, or like the of flogging. So it was like maybe it
The
still
same
had like
narrator,
the
but-
accent of the narrator,
Uh-huh.
but it was written how we would speak.
Like American English.
Huh?
I think that that's a good point. I would have seen it as an American person writing a Nigerian story.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that we're kind of privileged and we're like, well, we wanted to be told from
Right.
our voice. We want to
Right.
hear the story, but we wanted to be told in
From an outsider's view, not an insider's view. Because, yeah, if Jamie Foxx read it, it would be an outsider's perspective on Nigeria. And like all the Nigerian English was taken out and it was standard American English, it'd be an outsider perspective. But what's different about this book is it's an insider perspective. And I like that. It's better that way. It's more authentic that way. It's more challenging that way. I was telling you, I totally came from a place of privilege when I first listened to it. And I honestly, I thought, I was like, oh, this part of the book is going to end. Because there's going to be another narrator that comes in. Like, this narrator is only here for this girl. But either she's going to learn better English, or there's going to be another portion of the story where I don't have to hear this.
And then
I
towards
just
the
being
end,
honest.
like, what was your opinion toward the end, like based off what happened to Adoni? Do you think that, like, what was her? Yeah, I'll leave it at that. What was your?
It changed. In the end, I had a connection to it, and I understood what was happening, and that she was the main character, and I just understood more of the English, and I liked it a lot. So that changed.
So toward
That
the end, you
resistance
didn't think
softened.
there was a need to change.
What's that?
Toward the end, you didn't think there was a need for her to change.
That's right. That's right. I changed.
Okay. Anything else you want to share?
I love you.